Okay, Marcel. What is what is supposed to do if a friend has fallen in sectarian Buddhist sangha? Okay. Uh, he has become a monk, taking vow. I often think about, feel worried about his future. I think the most important, any people who have fallen into the sectarian belief, I think if that is your friend, I think the most important is that you simply keep your option open to help them. I think keeping that kind of a mindset open is very important. Just because there's some individual have made a mistake does not mean that is the end of the journey to the path of enlightened being. So some people, they always make an error, but you as a practitioner, you have to continue and focus on yourself first. Once you fully develop your own realization and the qualities, and then you will have a possibility to benefit others. Until then, don't put your nose into other people's matters, and especially when it comes to simply practicing the Dharma itself. So, and also don't judge the other people who have fall into a sectarian belief about their own lineage and tradition. Don't how do I say, don't outcast them, and don't remove them, but at the same time, continue with your principle. It doesn't mean that you have to follow them or you have to give them endless chance. You just give them time to their own discovery, let them make mistake on their own, let them discover on their own. And then one day, once they have a, real understanding about their own error, and then they will come to you as a true friend again. So the most important is that don't speak about your friend or criticize or outcast or anything. Just focus on your practice and then follow with your principle. Don't let other people take advantage of you. Because we are not in the state of being to be taken advantage by other people. Being compassionate is one thing. Taking advantage by other people is not a compassionate act. You're just being ignorant. So there's the ignorant state of mind, and combined together with ego, there where we say that, oh, I'm being compassionate and I got taken advantage by other people. Obviously, you're going to take advantage by other people. So you should not give a chance to other people to take advantage of you. At the same time, you don't have to be harmful either. These two are two separate things. So therefore, just continue with your, Buddhist tradition and practice. Keep an open mindset to all the different masters' teachings throughout all the different traditions, and that is a very important matter. So if you want to be compassionate, if you're saying, oh, my friend is really going through a very difficult time, or in a different traditions and sectarian belief and so on and so forth, I would say just simply focus in your practice. And then once you develop a realization over time, then you will have more sentient beings to help than one. So keep that principle, and don't let other people take advantage of you, and don't make an excuse of saying, oh yeah, I want to be compassionate because I'm a Buddhist practitioner. Yeah, you can be compassionate when you have a fully realized state of mind. I have said this many times in the past. The true definition of compassion is not a pityness. Many people, they think that, oh, I feel bad for him, you have a sympathy or pity. Yeah, that is one level of, being nice. And then there's a loving kindness. There's a basic pity or sympathy. And then there's a loving kindness that which we actually need, where we can actually use it to improve ourselves and to benefit others. And then the compassion is on the top of the shelf. Because the very definition of compassion means that individual who have understood and distinguished himself or herself from the state of the ignorance and from the state of the attachment to themselves. Therefore, they have nothing to reflect inward. They have only to reflect outward to benefit all the sentient being. And naturally, anything they do, anything they act, becomes a compassionate act because there's no self-interest, But we have to make a distinction between the pity that we are feeling to others. You cannot say, I'm feeling bad for others, and then compare yourself, oh, I'm Buddhist, I'm being compassionate. Well, it sounds very good, but it's not the same. When you feel pity, if you're feeling pity right now, you are also vulnerable to be upset and angry and hatred towards other people. When you have loving kindness, there's a less chance that hatred will come. There's a less chance that anger will come. There's a less chance that aggressive attitude will come, because you have a basic principle of loving kindness that that we all talk about, that we all practice about, that we all believe in, which is very much meaningful. And then with the loving kindness practice, then we can reach to the destination of the compassion itself. When you have a realization about the nature of the mind, that shows very clearly that you are not under the influence of the state of the ignorance and ego. Okay? And then you are not under the influence of the state of the ignorance and the ego and illusion. The very reason that we are in samsara is because of due to the illusion created by the ego, and the ego itself created by the ignorance. And the state of the ignorance is the opposite of the not being able to recognize the nature of the mind, unable to recognize the true meaning of present. So that's that. So therefore, once you say that, if you have a courage to say, I'm being compassionate, either you have to be, either it is a very good lie, either it's a lie, or either it has to be the truth. There's no middle way in between, So don't try to put two things together when you feel pity, when you have sympathy to other people, don't try to use that together with the meaning of compassion. There's a pity and a sympathy that we try to share to other people, that we join in the protest, try to make a statement, make a public awareness, about the environment and about some changes in the social challenges in the different countries, right? So these are sympathy, these are, for loving your own country and your own planet and for the well-being for everybody. And these are the great act of sympathy. These are the great act of kindness. These are the great act of loving. But these are the not act of compassion. It is a great act out of sympathy. It is a great act out of loving and kindness, and not just having a self-interest, but also having a global understanding and a global view, but compassion is much more deeper understanding, because once you have a compassionate, if you say that I have a compassion, then it shows very clearly that I have anything that I do in this very moment, I'm not influenced by my ego and by my ignorance and by my illusion. If you are not under any of these three influence, under any circumstance, you can say, I am compassionate. But unfortunately, those who are very compassionate, will never say, I'm compassionate. Like an example, His Holiness Dalai Lama, and all the other great masters who gives teachings, who travel around the world, who do many things, and, to benefit other people. And they never say, oh, look at me, I'm a great compassionate being. Only the people who want to get a recognition, then they will say, I am being compassionate. But in reality, the state of the compassion comes only when you have a fully realized state of mind, and when you have a clear understanding that, no matter the weight of the illusion or the ego or the ignorance, your kindness and willing to benefit others never change, and there's not even a single moment of self-interest. And in that moment, and once you reach in that kind of realization, you can, then you are compassionate being. You are compassionate bodhisattva. You are compassionate practitioner. you can call it like that. But by that time, you will not even have an interest to yourself, so therefore you will not even bother whether people tell you you are compassionate or you are not compassionate. By that time, you will be immune to the criticism, and you will be immune to the praise from the people as well. Because the very reason that we cannot be compassionate is due to our own pride, due to our own ego, due to our own ignorance. We are vulnerable to the criticism, we are vulnerable to the praise. When people praise you, you say, oh, I think I'm doing really great. When people criticize you, then you say, oh, I'm doing terrible. So therefore it shows a very clear that you have not reached to the state of being compassionate. But once you reach to the state of being compassionate, you will not even bother about praise from the people or the critics from the people. You will just simply continue with the non-self-interest, and all your activities will continue to help other people. And that's the time where we call you bodhisattva. So that's that.